Hi guys, my name's Alana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Mental Health with Alana. If you're new here, please press the red subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and press the bell notification so you know every time I post a video. If you'd like to check out my mental health Instagram, I'll put it up here on the screen. If you would like to follow my business account, which I make sensory boxes for your mental health, then I'll put it up here on the screen as well. If you'd like to purchase something off my Amazon wish list, it is linked down below in my link tree. So if you'd like to go check that out, you can. And yeah, let's get on to the video. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I knew I had schizoaffective disorder and whether or not I had insight into what was going on, and kind of just discuss like what it was like. Just moving this chair. Oh, okay. Kind of just discussing like what it was like to get diagnosed and my thoughts, feelings, insight, and everything like that. So, backstory, just quickly, if you're new to my channel, hello. I have multiple mental illnesses and some other conditions, and one of them includes bipolar and schizophrenia. So I have schizoaffective disorder, which is a combination of a mood disorder, either bipolar or depression, and schizophrenia. So basically, I was diagnosed with my cat's in here. I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was 19. Now, I had been living with bipolar since I was 14. That's when the symptoms started to come out. The reason why I didn't get diagnosed earlier and I didn't get medication or help was because my parents did not understand mental health or mental illness, and they did not get me any help or take me to the doctor or anything like that, and I had no way of getting to the doctor on my own. So I had no way of getting medication, getting a diagnosis, nothing like that. So because of that reason, I didn't get diagnosed with bipolar till I was 19. And I had gone to the doctors and I was acting very strange. I was very manic. I was acting very strange and doing a lot of things that aren't usual for me. And my parents were like, there's something going on. They didn't know what was wrong, but they knew there was something not right. And I was just acting very weird. I'm not going to go into the whole story because I've talked about this on my channel before. But basically what happened is I just happened to have a doctor's appointment that day. And the cat's laying on the carpet. She looks very cute. I happened to have a doctor's appointment that day, and my doctor knew there was something wrong as well, and so she sent me to emergency department. Basically, from there on, I got diagnosed with bipolar and borderline personality disorder from the mental health team, and went on medication, etc., etc. Now, the thing is that since I was 18, I had been experiencing, I was kind of, I'm not saying I didn't have bipolar because I definitely do. I have schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type. So I did have bipolar and I still do. But I actually think that I had the schizoaffective disorder way before I was diagnosed with just bipolar on its own. Because I was experiencing from the ages of like, I don't even know, like again, around the ages of like 14, even like 13, I had like what I would call delusions. Now, knowing what delusions are, I would have delusions where I would be very paranoid. I would think that the neighbors were spying on me. I thought they were out to get me. I thought everyone was reading my mind. I thought that my thoughts were causing events to happen. I had severe paranoia about people breaking into my home because they were out to get me and kidnap me. A lot of things like that. And this actually caused extreme amounts of anxiety And these delusions would come and go. And it didn't matter whether I was having a depressive or a manic episode, that I would still experience these thoughts and these beliefs. But I didn't know that they were not normal. I thought everyone experienced them, thought it was just my anxiety. I never really questioned it. You know, it just didn't occur. I didn't even know what delusions were. And then when I was 17, I started developing hallucinations, and I started to see things that weren't real, hear things that weren't real, feel things that weren't there. And that also happened when I was not in a mood episode or when I was in a mood episode. So the difference, again, which I always quickly explain, the difference between bipolar on its own, schizophrenia on its own, and then schizoaffective disorder is that with schizoaffective disorder, you have psychotic symptoms when you're not in a mood episode. So when you're not depressed and you're not manic. You still have them when you're depressed and manic, some people still do. But the main key here is that you experience them when you're not depressed or manic or hypomanic, so you're not in a mood state. So it's basically psychotic features all the time. So that is what schizoaffective disorder is. Now, again, answering the question, did I have insight? So answering the question, did I have insight? No, I didn't. So I did know there was something wrong with my mood, because eventually it started to, sorry, my cat is distracting me. Eventually my mood started to become very up and very down, and it became like quite a problem. And it got worse as I got older because I wasn't getting any treatment for it either. And when I found out what bipolar was, I realized that this was explaining what was going on. And I did have insight, I think, into my moods. I could tell there was something wrong. But with the psychotic symptoms, I didn't know. So I didn't really have any sort of insight into that, like into my delusions. I didn't know what delusions were. Like, I really had a lack of education. I certainly didn't think I had schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia or nothing like that. I certainly never crossed my mind. I never ever thought, even when I was hallucinating, when I was like 18, 19, 20, whatever, I still never ever thought, oh, I might have schizophrenia. Like, that did not cross my mind. When I was told that I had schizoaffective disorder in 2022, which is when I got diagnosed, I was like in shock. I was just like, what? I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know that it was a thing. It was just very like quite shocking to me. I'd been unwell for like 6 months. I'd been in hospital for 6 months. I'd been very unwell. It was like the worst time probably in my entire life, and I've gone through a lot, but that was probably the worst thing I could have ever gone through, because for 6 months I was so unwell. I was hallucinating all the time. Very bad, like self-harm, like really out of control, because I was dealing with all these like psychotic symptoms. I was very delusional, very scared, because when you're in that state, like, you're terrified of everyone and everything, because you don't know what people's motives are, their intentions, you know, anything like that. And being in hospital for 6 months is not nice either. Like, I missed out on 6 months of my life. Like, I don't even remember half of it. Like, I made videos back then, and I can look back at videos and I have photos of myself, but like, you can tell that I'm just not with it. I'm not there. Even in the videos, like, I'm just not really 100%. You can tell I'm not doing well. And it's quite like upsetting to look back at that time, because you realize how like sick you were. But there was nothing really anyone could do apart from the psychiatrist trying to sort out my medication and keep me as safe as possible. That was really all that they could do. And eventually we found a medication that did work a bit better, which was aripiprazole, which is what I'm on now. So then I also answer the question, do I have insight nowadays? Yes, I do have more insight, but if I'm very, very manic, the insight goes out the window, and someone else will have to tell me that I'm manic. I don't question it. I think that I'm just in a good mood or I'm fine. The other times when I don't have great insight is when I'm experiencing a very strong delusion or hallucination. So, for instance, when I was last in hospital, I had this delusion that because I was hallucinating a witch in my house, and it would follow me everywhere, and I thought that the witch had possessed the house and that the house was possessed and that the house wasn't safe to be in, and I thought the neighbors across the road were spying on me as well. So those are just some examples of situations where like I didn't have any insight. I was like 100% believing it, because I was literally seeing it like you see a real person, but yeah, so that was the video for today. I just want to discuss the schizoaffective disorder and like about insight and everything, because a lot of people always ask, do you have insight? Do you have insight? And I thought it was like, it's an interesting topic because everyone is so different in their experience with this disorder. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video.